Hi everyone, I'm going to talk to you about 10 items that I would have in my OT pediatric toolkit. The first item that I would have would be bubbles, and these were used frequently at my fieldwork placement because they're so versatile. They can be used to encourage bilateral coordination skills because the child has to hold the bubbles with one hand as they manipulate the wand with the other hand. They can also be used to encourage oral motor skills, and they can be used to encourage visual tracking skills. And my CI used this a lot to encourage visual tracking skills. She would blow the bubbles, then the child would have to track them and pop them. The next item that I would use would be the Shape-O toy, but any shape sorter would work. This is a great way to teach children about spatial relations and object recognition, specifically shape recognition. And then this toy has numbers on the shapes, so it can teach children how to recognize numbers as well. It encourages in-hand manipulation skills because children will have to manipulate the shapes in order to fit them into the hole properly. And it also teaches the child to mentally manipulate these objects as well. And then on top of it all, it's just a great overall visual motor integration activity. The next activity that I would have in my toolkit would be beads, and these are again a great visual motor activity. It encourages bilateral coordination because the child has to hold on to a string with one hand and the bead with the other in order to thread the bead onto the string. It's also a great way to encourage in-hand manipulation skills because the child has to manipulate the bead in order to line it up properly with the string. The next thing I would have in my toolkit would be blocks, and these are very simple toys, but they are so versatile. They can be used to teach about different shapes. They can also be used to work on different grasp patterns. They're a great tool to work on visual motor integration, and they're a great way to teach children about tactile discrimination. Another item I would have in my toolkit would be Mr. Potato Head, and this was used a lot at my fieldwork placement as well. Kids really love to put Mr. Potato Head together. It's a great way to encourage bilateral coordination because the child has to stabilize the potato as they place the parts into the holes. It's also a great visual motor activity. It encourages in-hand manipulation skills because the child has to rotate the pieces to fit properly inside the holes. And it's a great way to teach kids about body awareness. The next item I would have in my toolkit would be scissors. Learning how to cut is such an important skill for children to learn how to do. So cutting is a great visual motor activity. It's also a great fine motor activity, and it teaches children about the separation of the hand. The next item I would have in my toolkit would be Play-Doh. This is a really great sensory activity. It encourages the child to use his or her imagination to build different objects with the Play-Doh. It can increase hand strength as the child pinches and pulls the material. And it can also be used as a visual motor game. If you hide objects within the Play-Doh, the kid has to pull the Play-Doh apart in order to find the objects. The next item I would have in my OT toolkit would be a scooter board. And if you have the child lay prone on the scooter board, they can propel themselves with their arms. And this is a great way to have the child increase their upper body strength by bearing weight through their entire upper extremity. It's also a great way for the child to work on shoulder and wrist stability, which is needed to perform riding activities. The next item is a sensory ball, and this was used a lot at my fieldwork placement to introduce new tactile sensations to a child. And it can also just be used as your typical ball to encourage bilateral coordination skills as the child catches it. And my CI used it a lot as part of visual tracking activities. She would hold the ball in various places and the child would have to track the ball. The last item I would have in my toolkit would be crayons. And this is a great way to encourage a child to use a mature pencil grasp. It's also a great and motivating activity because most kids love to color. So it's a great way to encourage visual motor integration skills and pre-writing skills. So those are the 10 items that I would have in my OT toolkit. Thank you for listening.